All right, TopperTalk is back in the house where we never say never on WKU Sports Talk, because that's just how we roll, man.
Yeah,
All right. The full crew is back. Shane, you were out last week. You
I
couldn't hold
was.
down food. We didn't want you here in the studio, so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
gave you the night off, and you're back in the house. So the full crew is back. Myself, Sean Williams, Shane Bearden, Woody White. We're all here, and we're going to kick off the show with a big announcement for next week's show. Since basketball is in the air, everybody's feeling it, breathing it in. We got some exhibition games under our belt that we saw this past week. And WKU basketball, the men, they're going to be kicking it off against Wichita State next week. So we got a great guest in the house, former WKU
The
sharpshooter
shot.
Ty Rogers will be with us next week on the show, so stay tuned for that next week at the same Topper Talk time, same Topper Talk channel. We are excited
Same
to have
Topper Talk
him.
place.
Exactly, same festive place here. But we're excited to have Ty on the show next week. He'll be joining us for the whole show, and we'll be talking a lot of basketball,
Yeah,
obviously.
get a little insight leading into the Wichita game, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of what maybe he expects for the season. The tops.
We'll probably ask him about that shot he made a few years ago.
Yeah, we can ask him about Drake.
But speaking of basketball, gentlemen, of course, we've had some exhibition action this past week. Obviously, Saturday, the men kicked it off with Campbellsville. Give us your thoughts on the game, your impressions of the Western Kentucky playing an actual team with opposite jerseys, and the return of the Adarius Pegues in the house.
Well, I think
Triumphant return of Adarius Pegues.
I think the biggest thing you have to take away is the surprise that was Brandon Price. I don't think many people really expected him to jump onto the Hilltopper scene like that. Brandon Harris got hurt early.
Yeah, that was one of the, I guess, storylines of the game. You have your starting point guard, Brandon Harris, sprains his foot.
While two other guards are waiting to be eligible till December, so
Yeah, not a good sign, but, sprained foot hopefully won't be out that long. We haven't really heard anything specific about that yet. But obviously, but you talk about Brandon Harris going down, you're sitting there talking about Brandon Price stepping up.
Yeah,
so.
He came in and he was just a little fireball out there, a little ball of energy, diving all over the court, going after loose balls, being active with his hands, trying to create turnovers, and saw the court real well, didn't really make any mistakes, shot the ball well. He did everything, you want your point guard to do.
Yeah, he scored 15 points, and like I said, he really looked comfortable out there. Kind of let the game come to him, didn't force any shots. It's like you said, drove the lane a couple times, looked really confident going in there amongst the Redwoods, I think is what you said.
Yep.
That's the best thing I heard from the game. I didn't get to watch it, but everybody told me that he didn't look uncomfortable out there. And,
yeah.
For a freshman, that's the biggest thing. just finding that comfort level in the game. So
Coach Harper rode his coattails the whole second half. He got some big time playing time. Exhibition game against Campbellsville, but still, that's pretty huge for a walk on to get that kind of playing time, to have that kind of comfort level just coming in his first college action. And playing the way he did, like I said, it's led the team with 15 points. So it was that was kind of I'd probably say the biggest story of the game as far as just good stories.
It was, and even though we're still not at full strength, with a couple of guys, not being eligible till the U of L game. You saw Harper, early in the year he talked about wanting to run the ball more, wanting to have more pressure defense, press a little more, and you saw that against Campbellsville, them throwing that out there a little bit. And personally, I thought it caused Campbellsville a lot of issues. You're always going to give up some easy baskets here and there when you're in a full court trap like that, but it resulted in several turnovers. I think it resulted in more turnovers than what Campbellsville got easy baskets.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of that. Obviously, Campbellsville. From what I can tell, they're going to be a pretty good team for their level. But I want to see how that translates to the the D1 teams, because I think Harper definitely wants to get up and run, get the pressure defense going. So I'm excited to see that kind of tempo in a game for sure.
Well, we were talking about Campbellsville before we came on the air. They played Oklahoma State, and what were they ranked? What are they ranked in the preseason?
The ESPN USA Today has them at number 12, and the AP poll has them at number 8. And
they only beat Campbellsville by 10 points, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So obviously Campbellsville a pretty good team coming into the house. So
they're a top 10 NAIA team.
Yeah.
They have a lot of former Division I talent on their roster that didn't work out in D1 for whatever reason. So now they're all kind of collaborated on the Campbellsville roster.
yeah. I kind of pulled a tweet out there just before we went on the air. But if anybody was out there and went to the exhibition game, holler at us on Twitter. We are Twitter friendly here at TopperTalk. You can holler at us at TopperTalk TV. Give us your input from the exhibition game. What did you guys see? What players stepped out. Obviously, Brandon Price is one, but we're going to talk about some others here in just a few minutes. So if you were at the game Saturday, holler at us on Twitter at TopperTalk TV and tell us what you thought.
Well, good friend of the show, David Carter, he said that he was in the house and he thought the pressure D looked good, both full and the half court, and multiple step-on-the-line violations were a direct result of the Toppers' pressure.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people were impressed with the, the pressure defense and everything like that. I mean, it's like I said, I think that's one of the things that people were really looking forward to, this Western Kentucky team, kind of showing off against a team, an actual team like Campbellsville, kind of seeing what they could do with the athletes that they have on the team now. Like I said, we're more athletic, we're more deep. So we kind of saw a little bit of that too. I mean, Campbellsville hang around, give them some credit, especially early in the game, and especially kind of midway through the second half. Western kind of took a 17-2 run there about midway through the second and kind of ran away with it a little bit. But for the most part, they looked really good on defense. I mean, it's like you said, they give up easy points, and Campbellsville shot 43% from the field. But Western Kentucky also created 18 turnovers as well. So
I think part of the Campbellsville shooting as high a percentage as they did as well comes with running a faster paced offense. Yeah. Giving up easy points obviously are higher percentage baskets, and then you have the other team is going to have more possessions because you're pushing the tempo more, so it's not going to take as much time off the clock. Therefore, each team has more possessions. But Western didn't hit as many shots. They kind of were cold from the field early in the game, and it resulted in our percentage being a little low too.
Yeah.
And a closer game than what a lot of people might have liked.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people on Twitter and stuff panicking. Like I said, I mean, I don't think
that's
people
what we
understand.
do, man.
Come
on.
I guess so. I mean, but,
we're supposed to beat Campbellsville by
30,
you gotta, man.
If you don't beat Campbellsville by 40, you can't have a good season.
Exactly.
But, I think you play those games to see what you have, to see where people are at, and I think obviously y'all said obviously Brandon Price was a big surprise. Maybe I don't know. I didn't expect him to come in and do much of anything, but he's here and playing well, so that's good. So I'm really excited to see like I said, how that transitions into the next game, Wichita State, in like a week. So.
Yeah.
That should be a fun one, I think.
I kind of misspoke earlier. Campbellsville actually shot 50% from the field. We shot 43%. But, I mean, as far as the rebounding effort, though, we out-rebounded them by 5, 43-38, which, throwing another new face into the mix, Aaron Adeoye, played really well, had 14 points, had 10 rebounds. I know he said after the game that he wants to kind of be the rebounding guy. That's going to be kind of his major role, and to get minutes on the court. And he kind of embraces that role, and he knows that the coaches know that that's his role too. So obviously he stepped up, got a nice double-double there against Campbellsville, and obviously he's going to be expected to be a good rebounder for this team as well.
Well, I think another issue to take from the game is the little hand check foul emphasis that the refs.
Did you think that was a big major issue for this game? I didn't really think it was.
Yeah, but you had 51 fouls called in the game, and
well, it's an exhibition game, man. The refs are a little rusty too, man.
I mean, that's true, but Western shot 41 free throws for the game. Campbellsville shot 30. I mean, that's a lot of free throws, and if that's going to be that way all season long, you start thinking about when you're playing some tougher talent, some tougher teams. I mean, that could be some long games.
So you're thinking maybe we shoot 70 free throws in one game this year with the hand check rule?
I mean, it could happen, but I hope
not.
I
think I'm kind of glad we shot all those free throws. Apparently we need to practice because we didn't shoot them very well. So
and if you're going to be having to shoot that many free throws a game with this new hand check,
you got to take advantage of it. Yeah,
you have to get in the gym and practice free throws. And Harper kind of alluded to that in his post-game press conference, saying if guys want to play big minutes this year, they're going to have to get in the gym and start working on their free throws, because he can't have people out there in the closing minutes of the game in a close game that can't hit their free throws.
You see that a lot of times. It seems like just the free throw shooting in college basketball just kind of went to the wayside because everybody's worried about getting on a highlight tape or whatever. But, I mean, if you can't really, and I know that you want to practice them, of course, obviously you do, but whenever you do it in an actual game, it's a little bit different scenario. You got people yelling at you, and, well, maybe not the student zone at WKU, but...
I don't need to rant on that again.
But I mean, it is a very important game. It's like you said, Shane, you're going to have a lot of opportunities, at the game to try to close one out or try to get back into the game. You got to hit those free throws. They're crucial. And you got to make sure come on, let's hit 70% of our free throws.
I don't think
that's not too much to
70%
ask
is
for.
asking too much.
70
they're called free throws. for a
Exactly.
reason.
Yeah. So, that obviously we'll see if that's going to be a big issue for this team and see if they can kind of shape up in the free throw department. But like I said, rebounding looks really good. You got size down low. George Fant's playing the power forward position. It's more natural position. I think, saw some Twitter reaction to George Fant still struggling to finish around the rim a little bit, something that we thought he would be better at this year. Is that something that you think that he's going to struggle with this year, or you think he's going to get better at it?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, he added some vertical.
Just give me an educated guess, man.
An educated guess. I think he'll get better as the year goes on.
Okay.
I think he's still knocking some rust off playing against an actual another opponent other than his own guys in practice. It's still early in the season, people. It was an exhibition game. Everybody's working on things. Everybody's knocking the rust off.
Yeah.
Give him a little bit of time.
It's like what you said earlier. I mean, some people, if you can't beat Campbellsville by 30, they're not happy. But in reality, it's an exhibition game. Harper's playing with the lineups and everything like that, seeing what kind of works. And really, that's what exhibition game's all about, is figuring out what works best for your team, what lineups might work great in the future.
Well, and you saw Harper,
that.
towards that end of the second half when Western did go on that 17-2 run, he kind of stuck with the same guys there for a bit. I guess mostly starters and stuff like that went on that run, just to kind of give that little cushion, just so the game wouldn't be in doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I think Harper's that kind of coach too. He likes to experiment some, and we saw through the early part of last season, and especially when we had some guys go down with injuries, that he played around with the lineups, see who could do what where, and then by the end of the season, he had things figured out, and we were on a huge roll, and obviously everybody saw what happened with that. But hopefully you'd like to see us this year not have to experiment as long. Hopefully, by the time that Trancey and Harrison Docks are eligible, everybody should be ready to go.
Yeah, well, let's talk about another I guess old face, but he came back and he looked fresh and healthy. That'd be Caden Dickerson. Got the start, looked really sharp out there, scored 14 points, knocked down some trays. Wasn't wearing the
one trade from NBA range.
Wasn't wearing the infamous shoulder sleeves that we've been accustomed to seeing him wear the last 2 seasons. So it's kind of good to see him out there, pretty vibrant, healthy, and had a good shot. Again, I think his shot's back from the way he looked his freshman year. So I think we can all be happy about that. I mean, give us your thoughts on his contributions Saturday night.
I thought he did good coming out. He played good defense. I think, Caden is a guy that Western really needs to step up as a senior. Be a leader on the court. If he can keep hitting those 3 balls, I think it can only benefit the Tops this year.
Yeah, definitely.
I think kind of playing in transition like we're going to. I think he's going to have that role where he's going to be sort of trailing the fast break a little bit. He's going to catch a lot of spot-up threes like that. And if he's knocking those down, we'll win a lot of games with him doing that.
If on the fast break, if we're coming down the middle and he runs to the corner, he's always there for that kick out. That can be his money ball.
Like that when you're playing fast-paced offense.
Definitely.
You got a guy that can hit those shots and be the trailer. I mean, that's money right
Every
there.
team needs a 3-point specialist.
Definitely.
That's right. And Caden definitely looked the part Saturday night. It's nice to kind of, like I said, see him healthy, not wearing those shoulder sleeves that we're seeing him accustomed to seeing him wear and everything like that. So, it was really good to see him back. Also, another return of Nigel Snipes.
Yeah.
So, didn't
Came
get
out there sans knee brace.
Yeah, sans knee brace, yeah. So, I think Harper's going to kind of slowly work him into the lineup a little bit, kind of, what are you guys' thoughts? It kind of seemed like he just kind of worked him in a little bit, just kind of knocked the rust off a little bit. Not really get a whole lot of action. But
Nigel has, in my opinion, I think he has one of the best looking shots on the team with his form and stuff. He hit a nice 3-point ball himself, but we all remember last year before the season that, he was kind of penciled in as being the starter when the season started, and then, when he got hurt, it kind of set things back a little bit. But, I expect big things from Nigel. His athleticism, his ability to shoot the ball. I mean, he's kind of an all-around player.
I really think he's going to kind of be that X-factor player for this team because, trying to come back, nobody really knows much about him. He could step in and, like you said, he's got a real smooth jumper, super athletic dude. I think he's going to really contribute before the year's over, for sure.
Yeah. So what do you guys think the starting lineup's going to look like? I know it'll probably be different, in some instances, but what do you think it's going to look like? What do you think it's going to look like for Wichita State? How about that?
If Brandon Harris is healthy, then he'll be starting at the point.
Do you think Brandon Price gets the start if Brandon Harris is not healthy? What do you guys think?
Possibly. I mean,
I think he would.
You know what?
I think he would.
Harper said in the postgame too that he thought Brandon earned himself minutes, and if anybody wants those minutes back, they're going to have to take him from him.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and even Harper said that after the game. I mean, you know, what epitomizes Brandon Price was him diving on the floor there at the end of the game.
30 seconds left.
I
still
mean,
diving for
didn't
those
really
balls.
have to. You know, I mean, the game was kind of out of hand, but he dove for the ball because that's just who he is.
From what I hear about him, you know, a lot of people, you know, would be kind of intimidated to go into a Wichita State as your first collegiate game, but he doesn't seem like that type of guy. He seems like he would just be calm and go out there and do his thing. So, I mean, if he does start, I mean, I'd be a little nervous for him, but that's a tough environment to get your first start. But
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously the Wichita State game's still, you know, kind of a little bit more than a week out. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see, you know, how Harris's, you know, health is and if he's ready to come back. But I honestly think that Price would probably get to start if Harris is injured, you know.
Stephen Corford brings up a good point on Twitter to, you know, that Peyton Hulsey needs some love too. You know, I thought he played well. You know, he's an all-around player as well. He's not exactly the scorer, but he just kind of does a little bit of everything. I mean, he hustles, plays good defense, distributes the ball, rebounds, and he's got size at the point guard spot too, which, you know, in certain matchups can be a good thing to have. I mean, he can guard the 1-3 position from the point guard spot.
So what do you guys think? You play an exhibition game on Saturday. You got more than a week off for Wichita State. You think there needs to be another exhibition game in here? Or no?
I mean, if you do the little secret scrimmage like Western does every year, then
Call
you
it
know,
Russellville High School, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Bill Todd will bring the team up here for sure.
I think you can just stick with the one exhibition. But you know, a lot of teams don't do those little scrimmages. If you don't, then I say go with two.
I'd like to see us do like a legit red-white game, not just as part of hysteria, but as an exhibition, kind of like some other teams do.
Okay, just kind of like full-blown game.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I think it'd be
Let's
fun. Get
schedule
some
it
crowd
Thursday
out.
night.
I'll tell Coach Harper.
Let him know.
Yeah.
Put that on the document.
Yeah, well, I'm just bringing it up because, you know, you have an exhibition game. Most teams you see across the country play two, you know, and plus you have like over a week before you play Wichita State, and that's going to be a pretty big game on the road. Of course, it's going to be at an awkward time at midnight, you know, there at Wichita, Kansas. So
I love that 24-hour marathon. Like I'm
it
super
is.
pumped that we get
It's
to
a
be part
cool
of it.
concept, yeah. It's just we just got kind of slotted at a
I'm
bad
anxious to see how
time.
many
But
people actually stay up and watch us. I mean, I know I'll be awake.
might as well, right?
I'll be up.
Live it up, man. You'll live once, right?
But
So obviously, you know, just kind of quick takeaways from the exhibition game. What do you guys think perceiving the season? You still think this is going to be a team that's going to win
oh, definitely
24, 25
It's an
games?
exhibition game.
Yeah.
You know, we never finished talking about the starting lineups for Wichita. But,
Okay, let's talk about
we'll
the.
say with you know,
Go
if
ahead,
Harris
Shane.
is if
Go ahead,
Harris
Shane.
is healthy, then he's going to play.
Okay.
He's going to start, and then you'll have TJ with Caden, George, and Rostov. And I think that's pretty much
That'd be what I'd go
how it's
with.
going to be.
I kind of agree with all
what
you
we started
guys.
Campbellsville with. I think that's what Harper's comfortable with. You know, going with veterans who've been there, and I think that's probably what we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's going to be a really solid lineup.
I agree.
You know, throughout the season, whether you know Harris or Price is going to be the pointer. I think I think Harris will probably be back, but you know, like I said, we haven't heard anything official yet.
Say a sprained foot. Like I've dealt with some pretty good sprained ankles in the past, and it's usually 2 to 3 week injury, and I don't know how a sprained foot is necessarily, but
Yeah.
I would think with college rehab.
Well,
he
it,
should-
you know, it can depend on the severity of
True.
it too.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well,
Switching gears?
Good. We'll switch gears. Well, we'll switch gears a little bit. We'll kind of throw it, not really in reverse, but we're going to talk about the Lady Tops. Of course, they were in action this past week. They had
Yeah.
two exhibition
two
games.
successful exhibition games.
So, you know, obviously the, you know, a couple blowouts and against Glenville State, they got the Rally's free double cheeseburgers because they scored 100 points. So I'm sure.
We need to talk to somebody about bringing that back too. I loved that when I was a kid.
I keep throwing it out there, hoping that the marketing department will hear
Lindsey Boyd,
the
free
noise,
burgers for everyone.
the noise, and just you know, kind of incorporate Rallies into that. So.
Yeah, Woody wants it, so it must happen.
Exactly. But of course, you know, they beat KWC 87-49. It's just probably going to be, you know, a lot of great players on the team, but obviously, you know, Chastity Gooch, Alexis Govan, they're probably going to be the
It's
1-2
still
punch
their team,
this season.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, brought in a lot of new good faces that are going to contribute, but I mean, the team's still going to go as far as Chastity and Alexis take them for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, you had Gooch, she led the way against KWC with 20 points, 14 boards, and Alexis Govan had 16. You kind of flipped that. Gooch had a great game against Glenville State. You know what their mascot is by chance?
don't.
No idea.
All right, everybody out there in TopperTalk land, if you can give me the
Trivia
Glenville
time.
State mascot or the nickname, tweet at us at TopperTalk TV because I know it.
No
and you guys
Google,
don't.
no cheating.
I know most of
You
these
can
things
Google.
usually,
Just
but
first
I'm
one
blanking
to
on this one.
first one to holler at us. So we'll give him a shout out on the air. But you look at Gooch. She had 20 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. Govan another 17 points. But yeah, I mean blowout wins against in exhibition action. You know, kind of what you expect. You know, it's a new and improved Lady Topper team, and you know we talk about the men, but you know there's high expectations for the women too. You know they're probably going to be. We kind of expect them to be in that 25 win plus, you know, range because I mean they won 20 plus games last year. You know with the lineup that they had. You know, with 8 players on the roster.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, a lot of big things for them to come, and of course they open the season Saturday against Austin Peay here at Diddle Arena. So if you guys are not busy, come check it out. 2:00.
Joey Gorman says Glenview State's the Pioneers.
There you go. He's a man, Joey Gorman. Pioneers it is. You are correct.
Never
Ding,
know.
ding, ding. All right, now let's talk a little bit about soccer. They got a big tournament coming up.
Soccer starts conference tournament Wednesday. They're going into the tournament as the number 1 seed, so you know big things are expected of them. Hopefully they can, you know, have a good showing. We kind of faltered a little bit down the stretch this season, but we're still, you know, like I said, we're probably the favorites to win it. So you know, they play Wednesday, and then I believe the semifinal game would be Thursday, and the championship's on Saturday.
Who are they playing Wednesday?
They play Arkansas Little Rock, who we beat 1-0 during the regular season, and
Okay.
then
Oh, wait. 1-0, right?
1-0. Sorry,
Yeah.
I did say 1-0.
So
You're
he just,
slacking,
I
Woody.
got-
he
yeah,
just
I'm
broke
gonna
a
say
soccer
it.
rule
I
right there,
did.
man.
That's a violation.
Soccer gods,
Yellow card for
forgive me.
you.
I apologize. So yeah, they get that kicked off and have a pretty good shot to win it. Volleyball, they're keeping their domination going.
Keeping the
After the
domination.
one loss in conference,
Yeah,
they got back on track.
They slacked there for their game. I think they picked up their motivation a
Yeah,
little bit.
they haven't lost a set since then. Got 5 home games to end the season, I believe, before the conference tournament starts. So
What do you think about volleyball? Of course, they're not ranked in the top 25 yet,
Right.
but do you think that
They're-
they'll get into the tournament?
I'd be shocked if we didn't win the conference tournament. First
Yeah.
of all, I think we've still probably done enough to get an at-large. We'll be right there on that bubble probably. Where
Okay.
I think where we're at this week, we're kind of 30th in the country. We're still in that receiving
Yeah,
votes category. So
Kind of in that gray area outside the top
It's
25.
a tough little bubble range, you know. But if by some fluke that we don't win the conference tournament, I think we'd probably still get in because
Okay.
I mean we're still a pretty solid
Well,
team.
and they played a very tough non-conference
Yeah,
schedule
absolutely.
as well. So
Couple
yeah,
year-
we did fairly
a few
well.
years ago, you know, may have been questionable, but the fact that we won a tournament game last year and the fact that you know we've challenged ourselves and beat some good teams, that
Yeah.
I think that'd be in our favor for sure.
That's good. Good to hear that the soccer team and the volleyball team keeps on rolling. Now we're going to switch gears, do a 180, and we're going to talk some pigskin
football.
gridiron football. WKU back in the win column against Georgia State.
It's the
44 to
Panthers.
28. Who can name me Georgia State? No, I'm just kidding, man. But obviously, Georgia State, not a very good team. They were 0-8 going into this game. They're on the struggle bus, making that FBS transition. Of course, they've only been a program for 4 years, so they're making that transition pretty quick. They just don't have the horses to really compete with, you know, FBS programs right now. But obviously, you know, I mean, Georgia State, they kind of made it a close game there in the second half. You know, they cut it to 10, 31 to 21 late in the third quarter before Western Kentucky actually finally pulled away. I mean,
Western gave up, you know, a couple easy, you know, big plays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that first touchdown. You know,
I couldn't help but laugh at that one. It just seems like the kind of stuff that kind of our football team is. That's what happens to them, I guess.
come on, man.
Sorry, but
Well,
I mean, the receivers bomb on it.
You almost-
Okay, now we're ready to go.
You almost
okay, I got
you
it.
almost thought there in the second half whenever they were making that comeback, it's almost like another defensive, you know, just meltdown there in the second half. I wouldn't really say meltdown, but just a poor effort.
When they came back and made it close, I think a lot of Western fans, you know, on Twitter especially, people were like, "Here we go again."
Yeah.
You know, kind of one of those things. But
It's like the you know, the song, the 80s song.
but,
Here we go
but
again.
luckily, we were only playing Georgia State.
Yeah, we
So-
played Georgia State, which we kind of avoided disaster with
Yes.
that. Obviously, we kind of went back to the bread and butter of WKU football, and that would be the rushing attack with Antonio Andrews and, you know, Keyshawn Simpson had 4 touchdowns. He was the goal line specialist Saturday.
how many total yards you end up having?
4, he had, let me see, 10 rushes, 25 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty efficient
on
right
fantasy
there. I
week
mean,
for Keyshawn Simpson, for
exactly.
sure.
And of course, Leon Allen added 61 yards on 9 carries. So obviously, they got a big chunk of yardage in their running game. Took advantage of that, and obviously, you know, did a good job. Brandon Dowdy had a good game. Of course, he got knocked out on the scramble play got the knee to the helmet, got a little buzz, got a little ding, but Petrino said in the press conference today that right now he's passing every concussion test, and he should be he's going to compete in practice, and he should be good to go for the Army game.
Well,
so
yeah, I noticed one thing in the game was, a lot of receivers that haven't really played very much this year got into the game, and I think
Cam Lewis with a reception.
Cam Lewis, you had Shaq Johnson out there playing a little bit. Taywan Taylor out there making some catches.
Yep.
I think that was one of those where maybe Petrino wasn't happy with what he was seeing from his wide receivers and decided to give some other guys the opportunity.
He also had the injury to Joel German too.
Right.
He's injured, so people got to go in there and step up because obviously German's a starter. So you need to have, of course, our receivers are young, so you go down the depth chart, you're going to have young kids like Cam Lewis and Shaq Johnson get in there. But it's good to see them get playing time, and no better time to get playing time than against Georgia State,
Right.
who obviously, we're outmanned against WKU. So, get them some good playing time, and they can do nothing but help us down in the future. So let's talk a little bit about
Army this week.
Exactly. We're preparing for Army. Hopefully Andrew Jackson will be back. He got suspended last week.
Petrino said today, that
Yeah.
he's doing everything he needs to get back on the field. So hopefully we'll see him back.
No worries about that, Hilltopper fans. It looked like, according to his Facebook account where he issued an apology, just kind of missed a mandatory meeting. He apologized. And it seems to be what it is. Petrino released a statement and said that if he does everything he needs to do, he'll be back for the Army game. And it's like you said at the press conference today, it appears that it's heading in that direction, that he'll be available for the Army game. So always good to have your one of your top defenders back.
Yeah, I think, we saw how well he did against the triple option against Navy when we played them. So I think it'll definitely be big to get him back for sure.
And, that's another issue. You got Army that runs that triple option, a little bit varied from Navy. I know Petrino said they run more jumbo sets where, they just have everybody in the backfield there. But, do you see any problems for Army, for our defense?
I think Navy has the, more prolific option attack, I think. So, if we come to play like we did against Navy, I don't really foresee any problems. But, you never know which WKU defense or which team is going to show up either.
That is true. What about you, Woody?
I told y'all last week I'm done with predictions for this football team. I don't know what's going on.
Come on, man.
Like Shane said, though, I think if we do what we should do, that we shouldn't have any problems. So
yeah.
Hopefully it'll be another win, get us bowl eligible.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bowl eligibility, we have obviously 3 games left. What do we need to do? Because you weren't on the show last week. What do we need to do, Shane, to get bowl eligible? Is 7 wins going to be enough?
Out. Nope. 7 wins will not be enough this year.
Even with the Petrino name?
Even with the Petrino name.
Oh, man.
Because of Sunbelt has 2 bowl tie-ins. Sunbelt is not going to do us any favors trying to get us in a bowl game.
Carl Benson's not going to be on the phone with his sunshades on.
I'll buy him a new neon hat, man.
No, I think we need to get to 8 wins, honestly.
Okay. I think so, too. I think we really honestly need to win out. And even then, we might not even get in a bowl game because you look at Middle Tennessee last year, 8 wins. They were transitioning into Conference USA. They didn't get a bowl bid either. So it's like I said, Carl Benson's not going to be on the phone, politicking for us to get in a bowl game. So that's going to be an important factor to kind of keep our eyes on. But
quick shout out to the WKU rugby team who's making the transition to Division 1. So we're going to give them a shout out real quick.
Good work, rugby team.
Good job, rugby.
That's great news. I didn't know that was happening.
I like that reaction, Tom.
Congratulations. All right, well, we are winding down. Stay tuned next week. Ty Rogers is going to be on the show, and we are out.
Go Tops.
Go Tops.
Hey, Hilltopper Nation. Tune in each week for Coach's Corner with WKU head football coach Bobby Petrino. You'll get an in-depth look at the 2013 Hilltopper team, meet other coaches and players, and see the highlights from every game. That's right, here on Coach's Corner with Bobby Petrino.